Hello, everybody. We get started with the webinar now. Good morning. Once again, a very good morning to everyone. I'm Richa from FitBots, and I manage the content marketing and inbound marketing for the entire FitBots product. We're very excited today to bring to you this webinar on aligning and transforming with OKRs, along with Kenneth. Kenneth Paul Lewis is the OKR coach and co-founder of OKR International. FitBots is an OKR management and engagement platform. We help organizations globally to align with and engage with this inspirational framework called as OKRs. Kenneth, could you just move the next slide, please? A couple of months ago, we did a survey with Gen Zs and Gen Ys just to understand from them what is it that they really want in an engaging performance management. And what was interesting is what came up to us was they want to move from what is performance management to what is called as performance enablement. The three things that came up in this performance management was the first one, that they do not want feedback which is just repetitive and which just tells them the good and bad of it. They want feedback which is constructive and focusing on their goals, not just in how they're contributing to the organization, but how does it impact their career and their long term. The second one that they really were looking for is alignment and engagement with the company goals, because they really want to see a sense of purpose as to what and how they are contributing to the overall company growth, and how is it that it is adding up to their career growth as well. With the ever-increasing entrepreneurial mindset amongst their peers, amongst their predecessors, it's becoming all the more the need of the hour that they want to gain momentum in how they grow, how quickly they grow, and how do they really see themselves as owners who are accountable for the growth of the organization and not just employees who are coming in and checking out every day at the end of the year. The third bit that came up from this survey was employees no longer have the patience to wait for half a year or end of the year to look for feedback. What they want is for feedback to be real time, feedback to be interactive, and feedback to be as quick as possible so that they're engaged back into their work and can do things right away. So why did we actually mention this? Because the FitBots approach is exactly the same. Considering all the feedback that we've heard from our users and our customers, the focus of our product is to ensure that it aligns team goals to organization goals. More interestingly, throughout the year, the team and the organization, the leadership teams can actually see how well are the teams doing and how predictable it is for them to achieve whatever is planned for. The second one is to build agility into feedback. Instead of waiting for a quarterly, half-yearly, or an annual feedback system, the entire feedback process and the exchange of feedback has been made quick, immediate, and fun and engaging, given the attention span and the interests of the generations. And the last one is to ensure teams to keep checking in on their engagement, ensuring that they're aligned, see how they contribute to the overall organization, so that they have their sense of purpose always with them. This can be done through fun polls, which the FitBots tool provides. With this quick and brief introduction, I would like to invite Kenneth to take us through his experience on not just on implementing OKRs, but also making sure you align and engage your teams to make the transformation that you seek to achieve. Thank you, and Ken, over to you.
Thank you very much, Richa, and welcome one and all. Happy Mahashivratri to all of you who are signing in here from India. It's a pleasure to have this first webinar that we are running along with FitBots on OKRs, and I believe it's the first of its kind here in India as well. We are also on the verge of having we have just announced our dates for the first OKR certification program that's going to be held in June in Bangalore, and then in September in Hyderabad and Mumbai, and we have December as well. So a little bit about us. OKR International is a brand that is a part of the parent company, Seven People Systems, which is already a 13-year-old organization. We've been known to be erstwhile players in balanced scorecard and MBOs. Now it's more about OKRs, and for those people who want to know more, I can explain I can explain about the transition a bit later. But at Seven People Systems, we have been known to be strategic consultants, helping organizations in performance management, helping organizations in productivity improvement, in leadership, in organization development work as well. So OKRs came very naturally to us around 2 years ago. Of course, for those who know the history, in 2013, Rick Clow from Google Ventures explained about OKRs, and that's when the world came to know that that was in their way the secret sauce that helped them with their performance. Thereafter, that multiple organizations have used it. We came to know of it around 2.5 years ago when I read the book by John Doerr, Measure What Matters, and soon after reading the book, I experimented in a couple of organizations. There were instant successes. Simply by putting some basic things into place, basic principles into place with respect to OKRs. So yes, quite excited to bring that knowledge to you in this very short vignette. A little bit about me. I'm a part of Seven People Systems and OKR International. I am also a physical trader as well. I run an organization that deals with trading, and at the same time also I'm a strategic investor and coach for a couple of other organizations, one of which is a .com company, and the other is actually in the social space. So that's a little bit about us. Agenda, this is about you guys. We're going to cover what are OKRs. We're going to spend some time there. I do believe that there are some people out here who quite know it well, but at the same time, there's a majority of people who don't know much about OKRs, and it's only something interesting for them. So we welcome you for this. We're going to spend some time there. We're going to answer the question, can you use OKRs? And what are the benefits and conditions that are required for you to be able to use those OKRs? In our experience of having run them, there are some challenges. There's a term that I'd like to use out here. It's called being deceptively simple. That's how OKRs look like. They seem like O and KR. That's it. I mean, what's after that? But we'll talk about those classic mistakes and pitfalls that come into place when implementing them. How do you scale with OKRs, and what are the benefits and watch outs for if you're an organization that's ready to either scale up, if you're a startup to start up, or scale an existing organization that wants to scale up, what do you need to do? We're going to reserve the final 15 minutes for Q&As, and I will see myself how long time it goes. Of course, if there are some questions that cannot be answered, Richa is going to take a note of them and see how we can communicate and answer those questions over email. Our entire purpose of doing this webinar is to let you know what's happening in the world outside, and why are OKRs giving organizations success. So what's really in it for them? So let's start with this particular research that was done by Kaplan and Norton way back in 2005. It was published in the Harvard School of, in the magazine as well. And it says that 95% cannot name the top objectives of a company, of employees. They cannot name it. Now, when you suddenly look at this, you might think, oh, well, objectives, what are objectives? Who are these people who can't name it? 95% is a big number by itself. And very clearly, you can see that when people don't know why they're doing what they're doing, some of them know what they're doing, what does it actually contribute towards? It brings a big dampener to the spirit, as well as the collective potential of everybody who probably is working on multiple things, getting them aligned into one common thing. To a great extent, when you work on say, for example, balanced scorecard, which is really great. In fact, I still help organizations with balanced scorecards as well, because there are organizations who have, say, for example, no performance management system at all. And balanced scorecard is a great fit because it helps you with your overarching strategy. The challenge with that is its ability to permeate down to the rest of the entire organization. That means every person in the company knows what is put up there, why is it put up there, and also they have a contribution towards it. In the balanced scorecard system, many people don't have a visibility, nor do they have a say into what goes into the objectives that are put up there. OKRs changes all of that. It changes it because this simple process, which actually began way back in 1968, Andy Grove is considered to be the father of OKRs, and John Doerr, and you can see in 1999, he's considered to be the principal evangelist. It started way back when Intel wanted to really up its competitiveness and its presence in the market.
Ken, sorry, I think some of them are not able to hear you. So they're just saying if you could be a little louder or closer to the mic. Sorry for this.
Okay, thank you. So it was Andy Grove who actually found, is this better?
Yeah.
I just want to take a stop and check if this is better.
Yes, it is.
Okay, great, excellent. So it was Andy Grove who actually created this system of managing goals in Intel in order for him to help him increase the competitiveness of Intel. It was John Doerr who worked with him, and thereafter that, over the years, mastered it himself within Intel, and then moved on to Kleiner Perkins to be a principal consultant and investor. And it was with Larry Page and Sergey Brin way back in the garage in 1999, while they're still working in the garage, that John Doerr introduced the concept of OKRs, objectives and key results, to Sergey and Larry in that garage. And of course, for the lack of any kind of system, they accepted it. And that system has now been in existence till now, and it's amazing. It's its 21st cycle, 21st year that it's in, multiple quarters after quarters that they've been using OKRs, and it's only given them the success that they want. And for an organization that has scaled to an extent like it has in the last 21 years, it definitely is a case study by itself, Google. But not only that, multiple organizations around the globe, Salesforce, Viacom, Dropbox, Spotify, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of them started using OKRs as well. The moment the word started getting out that this is the methodology that the organization is using. Now, many of you are wondering, what happens to performance management in all of this? Well, let us really differentiate this, guys. Performance management for many organizations will always remain. When I say many organizations that are in a way, it's compulsory for them, or it's mandatory for them to go ahead and rate individual performance and then pay people on their performance. So that doesn't take it away, especially if there's a compulsion, if it's a public limited company, or if there's some kind of regulation that controls that, or there's some internal process. If you're an, say for example, an MNC company working here in India, and there's a process that you need to follow, then of course you would probably need to keep your performance management system up and awake. Your OKRs are not a part of your performance management system. And OKRs is a business way of managing the goals, making sure that they are up there in front of everybody's eyes, and then everyone gets to see how the organization is doing, not at the end of a year in post-mortem, but quarter after quarter. This entire piece got us at 7 People Systems very excited, and that's when we launched our flagship brand, OKR International. So multiple organizations across the globe are already using it. What are OKRs? The big question that everyone wants to ask. Well, OKRs is not a performance management system. We settled that. It's a goal management and execution system that helps leaders, helps teams, helps departments, helps individuals know how they are doing with respect to a goal, compared to knowing how people are doing with respect to performance. Now you see where I'm getting at. So a goal which is person or people agnostic is what OKRs looks at. Performance management, of course, is all about looking at people and how they are performing within an entire organization. Here at OKR International, we have a rule that we set that we say not more than 5 objectives and 5 KRs for each objective. Now, that is something I'm going to explain to you guys very soon. So what is the syntax or the format of an OKR? It starts off with an objective. So objectives, 3 or 5, as I said, 5 maximum. Objectives are ambitious, qualitative, time-bound, and actionable by a person. Objectives can cover what you can see on the right-hand side: customer-based objectives, performance-based objectives, revenue, engagement, or growth. So a customer-based objective is, say, for example, having the most loyal base of customers in the industry. Now, that's an objective. You see, it's qualitative. Or performance. We increase our productivity to a kick-ass level. Now, I have not put any numbers there. Now, this is the vision, the purpose. The objective sums up why are we doing something. That's what it answers. The key result is now where the numbers come in, the tangibility comes in. It is now where the stretch comes in as well. The objective is anyways very far-reaching. It is not something that's quantifiable. The key result takes care of that quantifiableness. The sum of key results then help you achieve the objective. So say, for example, having the most loyal customer base in the industry, if that's your objective, your key results, one of the key results can be increasing your customer advocacy rate from 10% to 30%. Now it's an X to Y. Or you have another key result that sounds like increasing the NPS or Net Promoter Score of the customer from 80% to 95%. Now that's another stretch you can see that we're putting. Now each of this, mind you guys, we're doing it for the quarter. So that means there are 2 possibilities. A, we achieve the objective in the quarter, or we roll over these objectives also as well. The initiative is how and what you will do in order for you to achieve your key result. So all those tasks, projects, and activities. Now, some of them you will brainstorm because as a result of the OKR process, some of them will be existing stuff that you're already doing. And this is where people say, will OKRs increase my job? We do say, yes, it would make it more meaningful. OKRs makes your job more meaningful. It makes it more exciting. At the same time, it also helps you plug in what you already anyways are doing. And this is where the initiatives actually come in. So what are the real benefits of using OKRs? The first one is, imagine when people know that what they want or where they want the organization to go, that particular thing matters for the leaders in the organization. There's immediate employee engagement because one, they are contributing towards the entire organization's movement. And now you'll be thinking, well, isn't it top-down only? Well, this is the beauty of OKRs. OKRs are better when they're top-down and bottom-up at the same time. And there's a middle ground that's reached where both the leaders and the rest of the entire organization are contributing towards setting of goals. There's usually a question arising, but won't the people set lower goals than the leaders? In our experience of running this now 7 times over for 7 different organizations, we have always been surprised by the number of employees who actually set up goals higher than what the leaders wanted to set. Because there's always a bias that leaders have. When they set the goal, they do stretch it, but they're stretching it on what they think. And when it comes from them down as an order to the rest of the entire employees, the employees feel pressured because it is not their goal. But when you ask them to contribute, magic happens. And especially when the purpose is very, very clear. It translates strategy into action. Now, usually strategy, purpose, all of these things are left as probably a poster in the corner of a CEO's room, or they left a gold plaque when you enter into an entire organization, or it's only reserved to those town halls that you do maybe once in 6 months or once a year. this is where people start seeing strategy in action. Day by day, week by week, quarter after quarter, they're able to see how they, their immediate team, the department, and the business unit is contributing towards fulfillment of organizational objectives. They see it on a regular basis. And this is where a system like Fitbots can also help you in being able to make it visible. It's an alignment. Everybody knows that when their work starts, it is actually dependent on somebody else's work to end. And when their work ends, somebody else is depending on them to finish off the job. The clear line of sight is created between where they are towards the organization's outcomes and the end results. And this motivates people a lot. So we've been working currently with Colgate-Palmolive, and we have seen how people are getting so pumped up because they can see their efforts clearly. There's a clear line of sight, whether it's sales, whether it's marketing, whether it's finance, whether it's even human resources, or even the legal department is clearly seeing efforts being paid off in business results. There's a dollar value, or there's a market growth, or there's a greater brand loyalty for its brands. Really, very clear line of sight there. There's clarity of direction, of course. So there's more focus now for everybody to work on the more important things. This is where we say keeping the main thing the main thing. So these are the benefits. So can you use OKRs? This was the second part of this entire webinar. I'd like to start off by saying culture eats strategy for breakfast. We're having this chat with the CEO of a large organization, and he had asked us this question. Well, I don't think we have the right culture for it because we are a very lazy organization. You know, we are this very stereotypical Lala company. And the CEO is, of course, a young gun. All the people in the board are people who set up the company, but are of different thoughts. And the people have been staying in this organization for 25, 30 plus years. How do we go ahead and, how can we use OKRs here? And the CEO had heard about OKRs. He wanted it to be used. And clearly out there, one of the answers that we gave him is, see, either you can wait for the right culture and then do OKRs, or you can start with OKRs and then wait for the culture to happen. Now, when I say culture eats strategy for breakfast, you cannot ignore the fact that the culture, the ways of working of an organization is very critical. So there are some complete absolute no-nos when OKRs don't work. OKRs don't work when there's no respect for leadership. It just doesn't work. If people within the organization don't respect the leaders and their vision, OKRs will not work. OKRs will not work if the middle layer, the managers, are not able to go ahead and engage people for a cause. Now, you can train them up as much as you can, but if your managers just don't have that human management potential or even the leadership excellence, then that's where you can see it failing also as well. And finally, if your organization does not have A players, you need to have some A players in your company to go ahead and take this up. When I say A players, I mean those early adopters and those quick starters and initiators. You need them in order for you to make it succeed. Can you use OKRs? Yes, because OKRs gives you success. And for many organizations that are static, now compared to the description that I gave before, nothing tastes sweeter than success. And the moment they see those numbers moving, your competitiveness growing, your sales growing, your revenue growing, your net profits increasing as well. The moment the outcomes, when you see traction in it, nothing tastes sweeter, and people suddenly see, yes, this OKRs actually makes sense. I love this saying in leadership: compliance is ordered, commitment is giving. If you're a kind of an organization where compliance, when I say compliance, I mean somebody tells you what to do and you only do that. If you're that kind of an organization and you are always set in that way, then you have made your people highly dependent on you. And they're so dependent on you that the ability to think for themselves is actually handicapped. So in such a situation, OKRs may not work. When I say commitment is given, what I mean by this is an organization where the culture is that there is a give and take, where there's conversations, where things are just not ordered. And the thing about OKRs is that even if it's a compliant organization, there's a good chance. And again, there's a lot of maybes here, guys. There's a good chance this can work as well. So what do I mean by yes? Can you use OKRs? And the answer is yes. Because you never know till you try it out. And the best part about OKRs, they actually come in from the agile ways of working. So for those people here on this webinar who know about agile, a lot about agile has to be based on failing fast and learning quickly. So that means because OKRs follows a quarter cycle, it allows you to experiment. And there's another thing. You don't have to use OKRs like Google or LinkedIn has done. OKRs is actually an open source methodology. And that's what John Doerr himself says, that every time he has applied it, say, for example, he has applied it for Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, or he's helped Intuit apply it, any organization that is helped apply, maybe the main thing remains the same, OKR remains the same, but the deployment changes for every organization. So here at OKR International, we have created a format in order for you to help implement. And I did see that some of you had questions on how do I implement it. The first step in implementing objectives and key results is having at least your 1-year strategy in place, your blueprint for success. Out of that 1-year strategy, we convert that 1-year strategy. We see what remains in the performance management system in order for you to help you at least maintain that promise to the board. Say, for example, that you have a board that you need to report to. So you maintain that, and that can get put on into your performance management system. Those ambitious and stretched goals, which are your creamy layers on top, which lies the creamy layers in that strategy piece, that is something that you can actually convert into an annual OKR. So the organization level is the only level you create an annual OKR. And after that, you can create OKRs on customer, on finance, on sales, multiple areas on technology, multiple areas that you can create on innovation. And thereafter that, you convert that annual OKRs into quarter OKRs. So this is the first step, the quarter OKRs. Once you're there, you need to start aligning people. So this is where you call in the rest of the entire leadership team. You call in the departments, you call in those key movers and shakers in the organization, or you can even involve the entire organization in this and ask them to start looking at those annual OKRs plus the quarter OKRs and see if they want to add, modify, delete. That's very important for this kind of two-way process in a dialogue to happen. This is where OKR champions and OKR coaches, OKR consultants like us come in, because we help you in stitching all of this together. And we help you define and align those OKRs so that everything speaks to each other. And the next part is to build a track check. That means you're building a cadence. What we recommend is for highly dynamic teams, every week you have at least one kind of conversation happening on your OKRs. For maybe a more stable organizations where data comes in probably much later, you can do it bi-weekly or you can do it monthly, once a month at least. But as much as possible weekly. The second option is at least every 15 days. So you meet regularly. And once you're done with that, you go ahead and at the end of every quarter, you look back and see what worked, what did not work, what are your learnings, what gets moved on to the next quarter, and what are the new objectives for the next quarter. So that's what you move on, and it becomes a sustainable process through this entire exercise. So this is how the implementation process looks like. I'm quickly looking at my time. I know that I have another 12 minutes before I can hand it over for Q&A. So I'm going to quickly cover this. So in this particular piece, you can see that there's in an implementation, there were questions asked, how do I implement this? The first thing is you got to train the key people on what are OKRs and how do you do this? We have a one-day workshop on how do you do this. We have a half-a-day workshop and a one-day workshop as well. The one-day workshop includes some case studies and some scenarios so people can actually use it. The strategic alignment, so the CEO, the founders, they sit down and they create that strategy into annual OKRs, and the annual OKRs into quarter OKRs. Then thereafter that is the OKR workshops, where this is the longest stage. The OKR workshops, which is the third piece, can take up to a week to 2 weeks, because it's about people coming together, different people, different events. You'll need your HR, you'll need your sales, you'll need your finance, maybe some key project that you guys are working on, so project-based OKRs. So each of them need to be drafted, created, and aligned back to the organizational level. Soon after that is OKR validation. You got to make sense that all the OKRs that have been created, are they valid, and do they really connect and align to the organization strategies? So that's where a good OKR coach, consultant can help the leadership team understand that. Having a software always helps. We have used Google Sheets in the past. They help you probably only in the first 3 stages in this process. But thereafter that, the moment you need to scale, a good software like Fitbots or any other software that you find useful can actually come to help you. OKR skills are especially for your managers, because they need to have conversations with their people, coaching conversations, feedback. Because in John Doerr's book, he talks about CFRs, coaching, conversations, feedback, and reviews. So your ability for the manager to regularly have these conversations. And not only the manager, but also senior stakeholders, for them to have conversation with their peers, because there's a lot of cross-dependent OKRs as well. OKR cadence support is having an OKR coach, consultant, or a champion sitting through those cadence review meetings, helping you doing it in an agile manner and consolidating the learning, so that, you know, very quickly you can change your objectives, your key results, or initiatives when need be. And thereafter that, you come towards the quarter end, and then the cycle continues now, not from the quarter end review again, it just starts back into this process. So very quickly, when you're doing the first stage, it is about the alignment. It's a phased rollout. Now, many organizations, they say, let us go all in. And we say, hold on. First of all, do you have that ability and the appetite to go all in? So we study it. And a lot of organizations, we have either done it, say, for example, for the insurance company, we did it only for the technology team. We did not do it for the sales team. So the first 1 quarter is all with the technology team. They are the only guys doing OKRs, because it's an easy fit. And thereafter that, when it starts reaping success and the entire organization comes to know about it, there's a good chance we'll take it for the rest of the entire organization. So you do it in phases. For the FMCG company that we're working on, we're doing it only for the leadership team and the immediate reportees, which are around 75 people. That's it. And we're taking a conscious decision to do this for 3 quarters only with this level, because we want them to get it right. Of course, the work that these leadership team will be doing will be percolated down to the rest of the entire organization. The rest of the entire organization has been briefed on it, but it's been said that they will not be accountable for the OKRs. It will only be the leadership team. So you can do it in multiple ways, phased rollouts. Make sure that the initiatives are balanced. So systems are transparent enough so that not 2 departments are doing the same thing. We have seen this happening. OKRs cuts out redundant activities because of the transparency. When people know, oh, there's already another person working on this particular key result, I don't need to replicate it. Probably I just need to support. So it enhances interdependency and cross-pollination. Of course, the coach needs to do a sanity check to make sure that OKRs are not just whims and fancies and bells and whistles. They're all that actually contribute towards an organization's success. Aligning for momentum. Now, this is the second stage. This is where technology really helps in making sure there's true alignment, making sure that the rest of the organization and the leaders, the top-down and bottom-up approach is taken care of. In our experience, it's a great deal of ideas in the lower rungs of an organization. And for implementation, no coach or consultant can ignore that. And hence, we do a lot of focus groups. Also, even if you're not implementing, we take a lot of ideas from there as well. Real-time updates. What OKRs brings in is rigor and discipline. And hence, what people need to bring in is they need to present themselves with that information. So that means real-time updates on your software, and having a software that automatically speaks to other softwares like a Jira or a Slack or any kind of integrated software really helps there. And if you don't have that, even a basic software can actually help you as well. And making sure, and this is where our first failure lesson is when we went into an organization, and I'll be honest with you guys out here. One of our failures, we learned from an organization that, so we went the natural way. We created OKRs department-wise. But one thing that we didn't recognize is that there are projects that are much more bigger than departments. And when I say that, I mean the projects contribute at a higher level much more than what individual departments do. And in the first quarter, we did not create project OKRs. We only created department OKRs. And we saw everything actually going for a toss, because now the organization became more siloed than into the departments. Rather than working on the projects cross-functionally. We learned our lesson, and the next quarter we created cross-functional OKRs for the projects, where now there can be an HR member, there can be a finance member, a tech member as part of a project that they're working on as well. And you can start creating OKRs not only for departments, but also for other functions as well. Track check is about building accountability, making sure you have a fair system for grading. You can grade from a 0 to a 1.0 like Google does. Grading is not rating. Grading is showing your progress of completion and your confidence of how well you're going, how you are dealing with your OKRs. They're not a rating. It's not an evaluation. It's not a judgment call. It's purely a very pure, objective look of how you are doing with respect to your key results. And key results are graded. The objective, the sum of the key results, the average of the key results tells you how the objective is performing. Make sure you're checking in and making that trigger, making sure that everybody is well trained and able to have the right kind of conversations, feedback and recognition. And once a while, you do an all hands meeting. So we say once a quarter, you call everybody in. If it's a small team, like a 30, 40 member team, like DocBoard is, we call them every 15 days for an all hands. So it's easier. For a larger organization, you might want to call the key people involved as regularly as possible so that you can announce how we're doing. There are a lot of tools and techniques to build sustainability. Having a good playbook with the key principles, very clear for the organization. Making sure from the word go, you're documenting every question asked by every employee, and you're maintaining that database of FAQs. Best practices checklist is created for the new people coming in. An OKR shepherd, or what we call as a champion, making sure you have them internally who can then, and you can have a OKR champion sitting in the marketing team, and the marketing team helps the supply chain team or helps the technology team. So you increase the cross functionality out there, because the OKR champion is a champion of OKRs. Of course, they're doing their other day job as well. Making sure you have the right kind of templates. So this is where we like to use the Scrum formats. We like to use the Agile formats from Agile, because it helps you close meetings within a short period of time. Making sure that you have a roadmap for your 30, 60, 90 days. What are you going to do in the first 30 days, 60 days, and thereon? So there's a whole lot of stuff that we have in terms of you building this entire piece on. Some of the challenges, now these are the common pitfalls, and many of you are waiting for this particular piece. I've spoken about this, OKR ham, wanting too much too soon. Many people say, let's do OKRs all about. And we have had this experience of one organization that had set up OKRs. They had around 10 objectives, and each objective had close to around 6 KRs. So that is around 60 different KRs in all at an organization level. They wanted everything to fall into the world of OKRs. And this is where, and they were failing, because you could clearly see that OKRs is for you to help you focus on what's important. And hence, when setting OKRs, what we tend to do is we help organizations recognize that, cut out what is not needed and focus on what's important for the quarter. So that you can align your energies towards it. Culture vulture. Those people who say, this is not how we do things. This is not how we are always done. The naysayers. And if there's an error in the OKR process, they will point fingers and say, "Ha ha! I told you so. This will not work. Watch out! These people, there are groups of people who can cause out, who are so stuck in their way." And this is because this is largely stemming out of insecurity, because OKRs challenges people to think beyond the ordinary. It asks them to stretch. Role models. This is where, if the role models are not present. So this is where I know there are a lot of HR people here in this webinar. OKRs is not an HR activity. It's a business activity. So that means if an HR person is learning about OKRs and driving it, it will be seen as an HR activity. It will be seen as linked to performance management and will not be seen as a business activity. And my experience of dealing with this, there are very few HR teams which are able to translate an HR job into a business job. And this is where we actually advise HR teams and say, let go. You be you're the person who initiates it, probably the discussion with the CEO, but let the CEO or the COO or the CTO or a board member, let them drive it. They need to walk the talk, not HR. This is where we say, master, teach me Kung Fu. It's a play on Karate Kid and Into the Dragon by Bruce Lee, where you're expecting to learn everything from one person and then be a master very quickly. OKRs takes a lot of discipline and rigor. You can't just learn it for a week and say, I've learned it. You learn by mistakes, because as I said, it's an open-ended process. So these are some of the challenges that we clearly see. Some watch outs when scaling. Make sure you have your internal OKR shepherds and your champions. If you don't have them, you'll find it failing. These are the persons you start recognizing in the first and second quarter of your implementation. Be ready to fail fast, learn fast. I love what the CEO of Colgate has told everybody. Guys, if you're not making mistakes, that means something is wrong. And if you're making mistakes, let us not shoot the messenger. Let us take the learnings. And they've been so up and front about it that suddenly the culture of the organization has said, let us experiment. Because living in this VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, we cannot afford to not try something new and do it fast. If you're trying something new, if you're doing it, we need to do it fast, and fast enough for us to know whether it's working or not. And hence, that's what we mean by that. When you're scaling, if you need to change the initiative, KR, or objective, change it. It's the problem with balanced scorecard and MBOs was, if they're set, you can't change it. And this is where an organization becomes more agile. And people say, oh God, changing goalposts, what am I going to do? Well, this is where they start accepting the changing goalposts, because they understand and they know why those goalposts are changing. They're a part of the entire design. Dealing from performance management. Because imagine if you ask people to set their own stretch goals, and the next thing you know that they're going to be shot down for not performing, what are they going to do next quarter? They're going to sandbag. And there's a term that we call sandbag, which means they're going to set goals lower, but only they know about it. And when they show the entire organization, they will show how well they're done. Oh God, it becomes so toxic after that. Start with less and gauge appetite for more. So we spoke about it. Don't go all in. Have a frictionless software, a software that is very easy, very simple, not too many bells and whistles, and just lets you just do purely tracking of OKRs. If it does tracking of initiatives, or it has some additional stuff like sending feedback across to people, that's really great. But have that particular piece really set in. So that's it from us. I've just put in the quick slide up there on our services here at OKR International. We're based out of Mumbai, but we're working across the world now on OKRs. As we said, we have launched our first certification as well. Richa, over to you for the questions.
Thank you, Ken. That was indeed very insightful. The teams, the panelists here, some of them have actually shared early on when you had asked them if they have any queries. There was one question which came that enough in theory, but would need more on how the business can benefit from it. And as HR professionals, how can we drive OKRs? I know you mentioned that it's not really an HR's work, but probably you could answer this to Shalini Sharma.
Shalini, great question out there. So the fact that you are bringing this process in as an HR person and handing it over to the business itself is in a way a big thing. We have seen, so traditionally we have seen this happening. Only in one case we have had a CEO directly approaching us, but so far it is the HR folk, at least in India. In the rest of the world, we are seeing more of CEOs knowing more about OKRs than the HR folk. In India, because it's come a bit late. So for example, today, I think one of the organizations that is quite taken up OKRs fantastically well is Geo. So Geo is a great example. So Geo took it up, and it was led by the HR team there. Everybody in the HR team were trained and certified on OKRs, and they ran it. And this is one of the secrets for success itself. It's not only having a deep pocket, but also knowing what to do with the money in order for them to go ahead and drive growth. And when I say Geo, I don't only mean telecom. I mean also the TV, media, every other arm. And so much so that it is so successful. Now it has become, now OKRs is spread across the entire Reliance group. So even oil and gas, even chemicals, everywhere it's been taken up. So to answer the question out here, HR can show business impact by first introducing OKRs, second, helping in skilling and training people, getting other people other than HR, non-HR people to become champions, getting them to be a part of the entire cadence, making sure that the rigor and discipline they are held accountable for it. The HR person acts as a coach to the CEO only to the CEO, not to the rest of the entire organization on OKRs, or to the main sponsor of the entire piece. And that is where the help really comes in. And very importantly, when the HR themselves set their own OKRs, it forces them, because to a great extent, there are some things which are very transactional in HR. So say, for example, when I say transactional, I mean the data, like attrition or recruitment, or payouts, comp and ben, appraisals. All of these are very transactional. The moment you start setting your own OKRs, you've seen, you start becoming truly transformative HR business partners, because then you start seeing what is the outcome or the metric that I will chase in order for, say, sales to really flourish. And you start looking at it from that point of view.
Ken, can you just summarize this answer? Because I think a few of them could not hear you clearly in between.
Okay, so quick summary out there. HR teams can own, not own, louder. Do not own. The HR team does not need to own the OKR process. They need to be coaches, and they need to encourage coaches and champions to come from within the entire organization. The HR team, the best role that they can play, especially the HR manager, is they can play as a sounding board to the CEO on the OKRs. The HR team traditionally here in India so far are the people who introduce OKRs to the company, to companies, because many CEOs still in India don't know about OKRs. But around the world, it is the flip that is true. It is most CEOs know about OKRs as compared to HR people, because in the rest of the world, it is seen more as a business a process, a business system, which is something that we at OKR International also believe it's a business process. So the HR's main role is to introduce, to hold people accountable, to make sure that champions have been created. And when the HR team themselves set their own OKRs, they set OKRs that are on outcomes towards transformation and stretch, rather than just transactional stuff.
Thank you, Ken. We have a question from Monica. When is the right time to implement OKRs, since we are a startup?
Anytime. Anytime. You can start tomorrow. So for a startup, you can start anytime. That's the best part about OKRs. You don't really need to wait at all. In fact, when I set OKRs, as I said, the first step is sitting down with the founders of the startup and making sure that you have the strategy in place for at least for the year, and converting that into an annual one. So there's a process behind it. And the best part about startups is they're very agile, and you can create the culture that you want now. In many legacy organizations, there's a legacy culture, and that legacy culture does come in the way with a lot of challenges that people would have. But in startups, you're creating the culture today as we speak. So it's the best time to introduce OKRs and bring in that rigor, discipline, and achievement orientation within the entire organization.
Sudeep has a couple of questions, so I'll just summarize his question. They are a 100 people organization, and it takes about 35 to 40 odd days to put OKR on paper. And by the time half of the quarter is over. So, what's the right way to actually implement it without losing much time?
Okay.
A continuation of it is, how can it be a top down and bottom up at the same time? If you could share some real time examples.
All right, great. So 35 days, oh my God, that's a whole lot of time, Sudeep. Thank you for being honest and sharing that. 35 days is too much. Max to max, it should take not more than 10 days for you to complete the entire exercise. For 100 people, it should be around maybe 5 or 6 days. Now, everything has a learning curve. I don't know the nature of your organization. Maybe it is quite dynamic and quite complex, and that is why maybe your OKRs are probably quite different from the rest of the entire organization. That's what I can, rest of the industry, and that's what I can imagine. Um, what I would quickly advise out here is you probably, you see where you can cut down the time, because the maximum time takes in people coming together and deciding what their OKRs need to be. Give them the homework and reduce the entire OKR piece to not more than 3 objectives and 3 key results. Put in a strict rule. The moment you start putting those strict rules on it, it reduces um, the entire the headache that comes in making 10, 15 different OKRs. So put in strict rules, and that is one way to do it. How do you align the rest of the entire organization? So there are 2 ways of doing this. In organizations where you're hiring A players, so say for example, Google hires A players. It's very easy for Larry and Sergey or Eric Schmidt now to just ask the A players to say what should the goals be. For organizations which honestly don't hire A players or not even B players, you may not ask the question directly to the employees. The leaders have to create at least the basic OKRs, the large OKRs in place, and then involve the rest of the entire organization. So you can create the objectives and ask the rest of the entire organization to create the KRs. Or you can create the objectives and KRs, and you can ask the rest of the entire organization to say what initiatives and tasks and projects do we need to take up. So this is where you can create the co-creation. There's another method, and we found the methods. You can create an objective and you can write 2 KRs, and you can ask the rest of the entire organization to say what is 1 KR that they would like to add to the objective. So there are multiple permutation combinations that you can do out there.
Thanks, Ken. We have a question from Raj Lakshmi. What is the difference between balanced scorecard versus OKR? Is this a maturity level or simplification of BSC?
BSC is a great tool to help organizations set up annually how well they're doing. It's a great tool that helps you really look at the organization from a very holistic level, and then go ahead and present that to the board or make sure that you're tracking the entire piece. So it's a very large methodology of you being able to make sure that the organization is performance-driven culture, has a performance-driven culture. The limitation of balanced scorecard is, first, its cadence. When I say cadence, it's frequency on how often it is visited. The second is the complexity. Not everyone in the rest of the entire organization knows who set it, why was it set. Say for example, the sales function may not understand the internal processes, so balanced scorecard is, you have customer related goals and finance related goals, which we call as LAC goals. And then you have your people and your process related goals, which are your lead goals. So people may not really recognize them. What OKRs, the difference of OKRs is, first, OKRs is not the same as balanced scorecard. So you can have balanced scorecard existing for, say, for example, the large strategy, and OKRs are for the screamy level, top level goals that you have on top of the balanced scorecard. So let me give you an example. So say, for example, your one of your customer related objectives in the balanced scorecard is for you to acquire, say, 1 million new customers in this year. Okay, to acquire new customers. So let's say 1 minute. So I just give you a K result. To acquire new customers in new markets is a part of your balanced scorecard, and that is your KPI, and your multiple KPIs that fit in there. In OKR, what you do is you convert that into an objective. So say, for example, the objective is to have the fastest growth rate of customer acquisition this year. When you're saying an annual OKR, if it's quarter, having the fastest, most enviable customer acquisition rate for the quarter. So it becomes your quarter objective. Your KRs now start being created. Now your KR, say, for example, is you want to penetrate into 5 states this year, 5 states that you haven't been in this year. You want to make a penetration. You want to increase your penetration by 40% in existing markets. You want your existing customers, 40% of your existing customers to refer new customers. So these are KRs that you put into place. Now, the best thing about OKRs is through the quarter, say, for example, this entire thing about getting your existing customers to recommend new customers is really not working. Everything that you're doing is too much of money and effort being spent, but it's not bringing the results. Then you say, within that quarter, within, may say, 30 days, change it, stop it, drop it. Let's bring in a new KR into place. Maybe the new KR is not about the customer referrals, but say, for example, I want to do another, I want to track another metric, which is probably more important than the customer advocacy metric. Balanced scorecard does not allow you this flexibility. Balanced scorecard does not allow you for people to start contributing, because balanced scorecard is usually created at the top and you leave it there. And then you train people, or you teach people on how to see it and read it rather than how to track it and own it. OKRs helps you track it and own it. Richard?
Manisha and Shalini have both questions on the same line about OKRs for HRs, especially writing of KRs. Could you share some impactful KRs, something which shows the team that they're having an impact in line with the business objectives?
Absolutely. So a great objective that I've seen in one of the organizations is so I'll give you the example of an objective. So the objective is making sure that the organization has the best constructive culture to work in. So that's an objective. There are key results there. So they have identified a tool that we have actually told them. It's called the OCI, Organizational Culture Inventory. So it's a tool that measures your culture. So a metric out there is having 60% percentile and above in the constructive norms. So that's clearly a KR. That's one KR for constructive culture. Third is to get on to a great places to work or an equivalent survey or ranking, global ranking. And when I say global, I also mean ethical ranking system, and be in the top 3. So that is a KR. And the last KR is to have remember this, it was a fantastic KR, that 9 out of 10 employees that leave us with a smile. That's a great KR, and they're putting stuff into place to make sure that it's clearly very inspirational, and it's attracting a lot of. The entire HR team is quite gung-ho, because now you can sense the initiators. The initiators are now all to build around to achieve these particular KRs. Another KR is it can be about hiring. Say, for example, we are in the first day. We are the first day. We get on the first day in the top B schools in the country. Okay, that's a very inspirational KR. So say, for example, you want to be an employer of choice. I want to be an employer of choice in the industry is your objective. Your KR is we are first day hires. in top B schools. That's a fantastic KR to have into place because it's an end result. The second is that out of 10 people who are offered a job, we have 9 people who accept it. 9 out of 10 people who are offered a job accept and join rather than leave. Because say, for example, a company gets a lot of people who say yes, but don't join eventually. So these are some examples. Some business related ones, this can be, say, for example, learning and development. We have the most cutting edge, innovative learning system. That's an objective. KR is our learning methodologies help increase sales by X%. And I'm putting a percentage. You're doing a Phillips ROI, you're doing some kind of Kirkpatrick level evaluation to measure that. So the best thing about this is when you're setting KRs, you don't have to think about whether you can do the initiatives or not. You set the KRs and you challenge yourself to achieve those KRs and the objectives. So here are some examples, guys.
These are some interesting examples. I hope it really helps everyone who's asked this question. For want of time, we'll just take 2 more questions, Ken. One is Monica, who asks, which is the best software for OKRs? I'm tempted to answer this, but I wouldn't. They're an organization of 40 people and she's managing the entire thing. So
yeah. Fitbots is great. So Fitbots is great. I have helped Fitbots plug in 2 of my existing clients. Really good reviews coming in there, and it really helps with small teams. And I can be honest, I also am and we also work with Purdue, we work with GTM Hub. So you have all these different players, and each of these players is quite different in their own way. So you got to understand why are you doing it. There are OKR softwares which is purely for OKRs, and hence they pure play only objectives, only OKRs. OKR software, by the way, just a recent report, is a $15 billion industry, because it's everybody is seeing that organizations are going to take up OKRs in the near future. In fact, there is an article which there's not an article. A part of that article says that close to around 50% of all startups by 2025 will have used OKRs. So that's a big number itself. So yeah, choose wisely. The other kind of OKR software providers are very heavy. Some of them are very heavy, may not be good for a 50-member team. Some OKR softwares also are a part of your HR employee lifecycle software. And I say, if that's the case, please don't use it. Let your HR system remain like Darwinbox or all of them. Let them remain the way it is. You might want to invest in a separate OKR software, because then it's seen as a business one that's run by the entire business and not an HR initiative. Ashwin, yes, I see you've asked this question twice. This webinar will be recorded.
We will be sending it, yes. There is one last question we will take from Raj Lakshmi. She asks, how do we create a blueprint or strategy which precedes OKRs? Any references, or do you also train organizations on the same for startups?
Yes, there are multiple ways to do this, Raj Lakshmi. We have to see either is it a competitive strategy, is it a growth strategy, is it a consolidation strategy? So we have to first come from the lens of the founders and the CEOs or the board. You know, what is the direction that's been given? What is the strat plan? If it's an MNC company, then there'll be a larger strat plan, a global strat plan. So you have to understand that entire piece first. And so this is a one-on-one conversation that we have with the C-level people, and we derive from that. We help them derive OKRs for the year, and then after that we help them derive. So there are multiple methods of doing this, Raj Lakshmi. Part of it would be so there are multiple tools. You can use the McKinsey's consulting framework to do this. You can use balanced scorecard to do this as well. And from the balanced scorecard, you can then create your OKRs, or you can just go with a completely blank slate and create OKRs from the word go. So as consultants, when we enter, we understand the complexity and the dynamics of the industry. Where does the strat plan originate? In many cases, so we had one case where a CEO had set up the OKRs but had no strategy. So when we saw the OKRs, we see it was all over the place. It was all over within the organization level OKRs, he had OKRs which had to do with him doing things personally. And we asked him, why is it there? For startup companies, they will have VCs or funding or valuation based KRs, which you probably may not. So there are certain KRs like valuation and the investment game. Those are certain things you may not put into KRs, but some companies like a publishing company that went online, they put it on their evaluation to be a part of the objectives, and they actually went ahead and achieved that objective. So because everybody in the organization knew that the organization is looking for a valuation.
Although I was saying that was the last question, I think from the beginning, a lot of people are quite interested in knowing what is the procedure for getting OKR certification, Ken. So maybe we could just take this as the last one and we'll get back to others independent of the questions that they have. Yeah.
So the program that we have launched is now, the dates are on the 3rd, 4th and 5th of June in Bangalore. We'll announce the venue in Bangalore. We've already got a lot of calls with respect to that, and we have booked already 5 seats. So far, we have a space for 20 seats in all. So we just announced it yesterday. We have got already 5 bookings. The process is very simple. Just email me, and I will. My email is kenneth@okrinternational.com. It is there in the Zoom link as well, and I'm sure Richa will be sending you that details as well. You can email me the process. The process is very simple. You come attend the 3-day program. After you attend the 3-day program, you have to give an assessment. After you finish the assessment, there is a little bit of a project work that you need to do, which is quite simple, where you have to just do some OKR work, some real-time application work. And then after that, you get certified from us. So you get a certificate of attendance, you get a certificate of, and then you get a certificate of being a truly certified practitioner in OKRs. We have another program coming up in November in Mumbai, and September in Mumbai, and in November in Hyderabad. All right, great. And I'm typing in my email address for you guys, and I'm also putting in my mobile, so you can speak to me. I'm based out of Mumbai, and you can call me, you can speak to me.
We will also share Ken's email address and contact number on the emails when we are responding to you with the webinar. So that would be easier as well. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Vitala, for your feedback.
Thank you so much.
It's really nice if you can get your feedback. Thank you, Edwina. Really appreciate it. It was fun doing this. OKRs brings a lot of energy to teams and organizations. And I wish that you're able to introduce that in your company as well. I'm showing this slide for you. Raj Lakshmi, here it is. Thank you, Ravneesh. Appreciate it.
Raj Lakshmi will also be circulating everything. So whatever was missed, even in the talking, you'll receive it.
Thank you, Manisha. All right. So we're going to log off the call now. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. And we hope to meet you all in future webinars too. Thank you so much.
Yes. Appreciate it. Cheers. Thank you.